would like to quote our foreign minister, Dr. J. Shankar here. He said that whatever India is doing is for the benefit of their own country. So if we are buying Russian oil and if we are buying Russian oil, it means that it is like if we can get cheap oil, it is better for us. And then if US is importing tariffs, then government is finding their way around it to make it work. That is how diplomacy works, right?
And regarding the wars also, like India is big enough. India's economy is big enough to absorb these minor shocks. Like
Why
in
would we go?
2021, we had Ukraine versus Russia war. At that time also our stock market crashed a little bit. Then we come back, we bounce back.
Definitely, but why do we want to risk it? That is my point.
So, welcome to today's group discussion. Some rules about this. I will be sharing a topic with you. You will have 2 minutes to think on that topic, and then when I'll give you a signal, then you will start speaking and discussing. The discussion will go on for 10 minutes. I'll give a signal to conclude, and then finally someone should take an ownership and conclude the session. Alright? So, the topic is the impact of global conflicts and tariff wars on India. Let me repeat. Impact of global conflicts and tariff wars on India. Your 2 minutes prep starts now.
So hi everybody, starting with the topic, the impact of global war and tariffs on India. So overall it has a very detrimental impact on India. If tariffs are increased, the export market of India really gets crumbled. And talking about the USA and Russia conflict, if USA and Russia are having a conflict and India is buying oil from Russia, and the majority of the big conglomerates in India like Reliance and Adani, they take cheaper oil from Russia. So if India keeps taking oil from Russia, but US and Russia they have a conflict between them, then US was threatening us to that they'll increase tariffs, right?
However, sorry to interrupt you, but however, the Indian government has found a way around it. So what they're doing is with the India and EU trade, the FTA trade, which they're calling the mother of all trades. What they're doing is they're creating a new market for the textiles, for example. They're creating a new market for for our country in Europe. So they're finding ways around it and making sure that the economy does not tumble upon ourselves.
So do you think the market that we're losing, the US market that we're losing, EU market would compensate for that?
So it is definitely affecting Trump. So I think it was day before yesterday in a press conference, Mr. Donald Trump was saying how EU is making a bad move, which means he and his country is definitely getting affected by it, which showcases how it is getting better for us.
I do agree with you. I think it has positive impacts also. President of EU is coming to India this Republic Day, and she introduced the mother of all deals. And apart from that, BRICS is also strengthening with that. On new countries are coming. India is looking for a new alternatives, a new market instead of only USA.
Okay, so
But we have to study that numbers, like if we purely compensate that loss we will be taking from the Russia and India deal. So if we finding that particular alternate thing, then we have to
However,
count
I
on
would
the
like
numbers.
to quote our foreign minister, Dr. J. Shankar here. He said that whatever India is doing is for the benefit of their own country. So if we are buying Russian oil and if we are buying Russian oil, it means that it is like if we can get cheap oil, it is better for us. And then if US is importing tariffs, then government is finding their way around it to make it work. That is how diplomacy works, right?
Yeah, that's good. And India has a strong history of neutrality in a way, which allows it to play both sides and make trade deals as it benefits them. However, we should also remember that these tariffs are two-way, and it is also affecting local businesses from selling their goods overseas in some ways, and also for consumers buying those goods from the other places. The products may not get released, or they may have a very high premium, and so on. So it is not just a one-way solution that we can just shift our market to another place and then the impact would be lessened. But the markets outside are also affecting us.
Well, I'd like to add one point to Aditya's point. So the fact that he told that exporting and importing from Russian oil and other countries is impacting that, but if we shift our focus to in-house production, like from oil companies like from Barmaid, then like from Assam, then it will have a like from our own point of view. So
No,
The
I would add to that.
that is a long-term solution. It'll take a lot of time to implement in real life. So what do you suggest we do it for
no,
the
actually it is going on. So we should stop importing from the outside, and in-house we should increase the production.
I would say that if we had that capacity of in-house production, we would have never imported oil from outside countries,
I
right?
absolutely agree.
And adding to that, like completing my initial argument, if we are importing oil from Russia, right? So, like, first of all, there is diplomacy that India would have to act very diplomatically, right? And if we are importing cheaper oil from Russia, all the goods that Reliance, Adani, these all big conglomerates they produce, right?
Yeah.
In turn, they are cheaper for us. If Reliance is producing, let's say, if it's, let's talk about Reliance Fresh, right? Staying away from the topic a little bit, but I'm just saying the effect, the snowball effect that it has on daily usable products, like just say, uh, like from your household items like soaps, or like, you're going to, let's say, a food restaurant, right? All the raw products that you get, we're getting them for cheaper, right? Because
I would also like to counter your argument in one more way. You see, Russia and India have been long-term allies for a while. So, do you think that we should just banish all the trades which we were have, like which we are going on, and just for the
No, I'll not completely suggest like that point, but I'd like to say we should slowly diminish that, but try to, I mean, just try and just slowly reduce that. Import.
Dependency on
Yeah,
USA.
outside.
Actually, the thing is, we are more dependent on China instead of USA in terms of manufacturing. If we see our net export is more in terms of like our net export is more than our import from USA. Like we are providing them services also. So it's not like we are lacking in terms of imports and in terms of manufacturing. I think
And I would like to add some more point, like the consequences of the particular global wars of the Russia and the Ukraine. So what we got to know is that India is working as a middleman and importing the particular oils and exporting it to different Asian countries in a cheap price. So from that particular US tariff, the Donald Trump that just said India will face the major tariff if they still continue to do so. So the consequences I would like to say is that particular apart from India, there are many countries who are just waiting for the opportunity to be that middleman. So yeah, if we talk about our neighboring countries, there are so many neighboring countries like who are the particular enemy for the Indian things.
I agree with you, because the topic was also the impact of global conflicts, and we ourselves are always on the verge of a conflict with our neighboring countries. So we should also keep that in mind as well, because like we were all very close to going to war with Pakistan recently. That could also affected us in a very harmful way to our economy specifically. That is also part of our topic. And coming back to
I
tariff.
would like just ask you one question. How would going to war with Pakistan affect us? How would that impact us?
Oh, it
That
definitely
was-
would. So when this again might be a little off topic, but sure, if a country goes to war, the economy takes a major hit, because a lot of the funding goes into the war and the weaponry, and then and so. If we take it from ground zero, the wars are not only based on weapons anymore. They are based on very strategically like
Information.
A lot of resources,
information,
lot
and
of
then economy is also there. Like they try to bottleneck the economies of different countries. That is how wars are being played.
and regarding the wars also, like India is big enough. India's economy is big enough to absorb these minor shocks. Like
Why
in
would we go?
2021, we had Ukraine versus Russia war. At that time, also our stock market crashed a little bit. Then we come back, we bounce back.
Definitely, but why do we want to risk it? That is my point. How we do not need to be, you know. All I said was that we have to make sure that these things can also create an impact. Not that we should be participating or we should be having an active involvement in these things.
Yeah, I do agree with Aditya. Like as he said, like even if a small impact is also impact. So like why do we should go into that like and try to avoid it?
So global wars and tariffs do have a cascading effect, like from a central from like a national level to an individual level. Like if there are increased tariffs, like I said, this thing Reliance Adani, they would have trouble getting cheaper oil from Russia if like USA is threatening us to impose tariffs, right? In turn, that would increase the prices of our daily commodities, since Reliance and Adani, these are like the major conglomerates which provide us with our daily essentials.
I think
So-
the falling of the value of rupee can also be added as an example here of how these tariff wars and how the ongoing conflicts and the disagreements, constant disagreements with the United States is affecting us. That also can be added as a
Actually, falling of rupees not because of tariffs.
How-
Because not only regarding dollars, it is falling regarding euros, yen, rubles, etc. So tariffs are not directing impacting the rupees. Instead of that, I think tariffs are making us more. Like we are looking for better opportunities, we are looking for better market because of these tariffs.
yeah. I initially stated that as that.
Okay, guys, so it's time to conclude. Anyone just take up 1 minute to 30 seconds and conclude.
Okay, I would conclude our GD. We had a fruitful discussion. However, we discussed on, first of all, how the economy was is getting affected by the tariffs, and then we went on to global conflicts as well for some time, and then after that we discussed on alternatives on how to how can we diminish. Although I do not agree with your point, but sure. Then that is, I guess, we had a good discussion overall.
Okay. So now let's get to the review part. When we talk about the conclusion, it is not just about just telling all the points, but also concluding as in what is the one common answer or one common thing that gets out of this discussion. Okay. So if the topic was how these things are impacting India, then there should be one line about yes, they're impacting India like this, and this way. One line concluding what everyone is saying. Okay, this is how the conclusion should be. So let's start with Aditya. First of all, you started first. You started quite strong. You talked about US-Russia conflict as well. Wherever you were contradicted, you justified your points very well. And even your contradictions were also good when you were pointing out someone else as well. You put the point forth for tariff on micro and macro level in the end as well. That was also nice. So overall, nice. I would really give you around 8.5 on 10. And the core reason for that is that you did your entries whenever and wherever they were required. You had your points decently structured and those were good. However, I would suggest if you can just shorten up your points a little bit, that would be really well. Because what would happen is that if you will just beat around the bush for some time and then come to the conclusion, there is a chance that someone else will cut you before you come to the conclusion part. Okay? So it is very important that you keep your answers crisp and impactful so that it can just take the GD ahead with you. Okay. If you want to take more time in explaining yourself, first put the impactful phrase and then talk about the explanation of that thing so that even if you're being cut in between, you have at least given your point ahead for the discussion. Okay. This is good. Next is Aditya again, Aditya Tiwari. You started second. Again, very good points you discussed. You talked about the new markets that we can explore, the EU and India market you talked about. You talked about the S. Jaishankar quote as well. All of these were good examples. One thing that I really liked was that for 75% of the whole GD, we were only talking about tariffs. No one was talking about the wars that are happening. Aditya is the one who introduced the topic that we also have to talk about these wars as well, global conflicts as well. So, had it been brought earlier, it would have been quite fruitful because here now we could see that the whole discussion was just around increasing of tariffs, what is the alternate to reduce the tariffs, how we can get cheaper things, and all those things. So, this was a very good aspect to talk about, which was not discussed because it was introduced late, and hence going ahead. And conclusion, I've already told you about. Third, Akash started. There were some basic grammar errors. For example, you said that the EU president will be coming to India for his son, so she has already come. Okay, you gave example of BRICS. However, if you could mention that India is the president of BRICS for this year, okay, so that will even bolster the point that how we are connecting the whole world together and how any impact in one part of the world will be a direct impact on India and India's economy and its state in the world politics. Okay. There was one statement that you mentioned, which is factually wrong. You said that the net exports to US is more than net imports from US, but we are importing more than the exports itself. We are importing around $270 billion worth of goods, and we are exporting only $200 billion worth of goods. So although the difference is hardly of $70 billion, but the statement that you said was factually incorrect. So whenever you're putting anything which could be stated in either yes or no or red or black and white, ensure that you're talking something which you are properly sure about. Okay. The example of Ukraine-Russia war was well, and when Aditya Tiwari was speaking, you did a good contradiction point, and it was a good entry because the moment he was having a lower voice, that is the point that you enter over there, and that is actually something which is looked forward to. That you saw your opportunity and then you pounced in, so that is good. On fourth, we had Moaz. Moaz, your energy was quite low in the beginning. In the beginning, not in the beginning, but throughout this discussion. And I felt that low energy is the biggest curse in a GD, because if you're low on energy, anyone and everyone can just contradict you or can stop you or they can just speak out louder and you will just stop by yourself. And this is similar for Pavitro as well. Okay, in a GD, you have to be very aggressive in terms of your voice intonations. Because if you will just speak in the lower note, no one will want to hear you. Anyone will just pounce and take your spot over there. Okay. Plus, the next is that I could not find anything concrete that you were speaking. It was majorly beating around the bush and not coming to the real point. So, if you can just work upon your facts, if you can work upon your current general knowledge part, and maybe some soft skills in terms of voice intonations, that can help you out. Okay. Next, after Moaz, Akshat, you joined in. You joined very late. I was even thinking that even if you're going to join or not. So there were a lot of chances for you to join beforehand as well. There were a lot of empty spaces where you could have spoken. There were a lot of, I would say, gaps when someone else was speaking where you could have contradicted or you could have contributed. So try to have a better entry, try to have a bigger and grander entry, because in GD you are being evaluated in comparison to other people. You're not evaluated individually. So it is very important that you show yourself good in comparison to others as well. Okay, that is very important. Now, you talked about the neutrality state of India and neutrality as India's stance. That was good. Another thing, I could not find any good factually proving points that you said. You were only either saying that I support your answer and just building upon that, or you were saying I contradict your answer and just building upon that. I was not getting some content or substance out of it. So whenever there is a GD, be it in terms of current affairs, be it in terms of abstract, or be it in terms of case for that matter, ensure whenever you speak there is something that there is something for everyone to listen to and build upon that. You should not be the one who is building upon what others are already saying. You will not have your context set in the beginning. Okay, that's one thing. Next is, whenever you're talking to someone, have an eye contact with the person, so that he also knows that you're speaking to him. He also knows that I said this point and this is where I'm being contradicted. If it is a group discussion, it should be a group discussion. You're talking to people. You're not just sitting out there and just speaking like you are not listening to anyone. Okay, so eye contact with whoever you want to talk to. Like if I'm talking to you people, so I'm trying to have an eye contact with everyone right now. Okay, so try this way and this will actually help you out. Okay, and last entry was by Pavitro, very late entry, and again very low energy, that I already said from Moaz as well. You were talking about in-house production part. Like we can go ahead with in-house production part. For in-house production, there is one very good scheme that India has been working on, which is called PLI scheme. Anyone knows about PLI scheme? PLI is production linked incentive scheme. Okay, so that all the in-house or make in India products, there are around 40-50 industries that India has targeted. That for everything that is being produced in the country and exported, there is a separate incentive that the government is paying these people. Now those incentives could be in terms of funding, those could be in terms of human resource, could be in terms of raw material. So this is one thing that you can talk about. Okay, so yes, so that is one thing. Next is you were very low on defense. That means that whenever there was someone who was contradicting your point, you were just accepting it. So if you already had a stance before someone is contradicting, you should have at least something to give back to. Okay. If you're accepting, then yes, say that I accepted because I didn't know about this, or because this is a new information for me. But you were just, if someone is contradicting, you were like, okay, now I should just low down and just sit silently. So the core basic things that you have to keep in mind is, first of all, be high on energy, because if you're high on energy, there are very less people who will try to contradict you, or they will try to barge in while you're speaking. That is number one. Second is, whenever you're speaking, try to put on some facts, try to put on some context, because with those contexts and with those facts, you will get bonus points, because you're setting the context of what next could come up ahead. Third is, if you think that the GDs are going tangent to what is being discussed, or some aspect of GD is not being discussed, see a point where you think that it is so long that it has not been discussed, and then just put over that. Don't wait for the GD to end. Okay. So these are some of the things that you should keep in mind. Overall, it was a decent GD.